So a few months ago, I jumped into the Reolink cameras during my upgrade from the analog cameras I had for several years into the IP cam world. And I love the value that the 5 megapixel dome cameras offered. If you want to check out that review, you can hit the link up above. But also I had some cameras on the inside that I wanted to upgrade as well and bring them into BlueIris. So we're going to check out this little PTZ camera that's for the indoor. It's a 4 megapixel camera. And Reolink did send this camera to me for review and testing. But of course, as always, I'll tell it like it is. And you know that based on some other videos I've done. And be sure to check out in the video description. As of the recording of this video, we will have a coupon code that will give you some off of this camera when you purchase it from Reolink. Going over the specs, it is a 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi camera. There is no power over Ethernet option in this model of camera. They do offer another camera that does have the Ethernet option, but this one is just Wi-Fi. So as I said, it is a 4 megapixel camera. It's a 4mm lens, giving you 80% horizontal view as well as 42% vertical. You can control it through the Reolink app and even through BlueIris to control the PTZ options. It does have the IR to do night vision like normal cameras. And they also give you the option to put a micro SD card, as well as two-way audio to talk back and forth. And of course, since I did mention BlueIris previously, it does support RTSP straight out of the box. The only downside I have found so far, there is no web browser access on the unit itself. But of course you can access it through the app and the PC app if you like to view it on your computer. And speaking of the Wi-Fi, it does have the 2T2R, which is 2 antennas. So I was seeing a 300 megabit connection rate between my Wi-Fi access points and this camera. It does not have 802.11 AC, but really with the bit rate on this camera, you don't need that higher bit rate as well anyway. So let's go check out the camera. So in the box, they give you the typical instruction manual. They give you also mounting screws for sheetrock or whatever you want to mount it into, along with a mounting plate that actually goes in the bottom of the camera if you want to mount it on a wall or ceiling, upside down, etc. You also get the power adapter. It is a rather long cord, longer than the normal cord that's say like 6 foot. This allows you to mount it from various locations that aren't close to a plug. Looking at the camera itself, real simple. The only connection you'll find on it is the power adapter on the back. Of course, it does have the speaker for the two-way audio. It does have IR lights that are actually in this ring right here for the night vision. And since it is a PTZ camera, of course, it does pivot around with the little motorized action of left and right and up and down. And speaking of, when you do push it up, you do see the option for the micro SD card, and this is the reset button right here. And we will be putting a micro SD card in it to give it a test. You just simply slide it in and seat it inside. I did find I did have to push it in with a little spudger that I have and hear it click like an micro SD card like you've seen on various other products. So that's all there is to it. Nothing crazy with the camera itself, and it does have some rubber pads in case you want to put it on a surface such as glass and it won't slide off. Let's get this paired up in the Reolink app. So once you plug the camera in and let it boot, you should hear the message.
Please run Reolink app. Add the camera and set it up.
Go ahead and install the Reolink app for Android or iOS, and you should get to this screen and hit the plus at the top. And you'll want to scan the QR code on the bottom of the device, and then hit connect to Wi-Fi. It's going to ask you about hearing the message. Say yes, I heard the voice. Then you'll want to enter in your Wi-Fi SSID. It may already have it populated. If it doesn't, you can hit the little Wi-Fi icon, and then you'll want to enter in your password. And if you do have a 5 gigahertz different SSID, make sure and use the 5 gigahertz if you have good signal in that location.
Please run Reolink app. Add the camera and set it up.
So then on the phone, it's going to
Please
show...
run Reolink app. Add the camera and set it up.
So then on the phone, it's going to show you a QR code that has your Wi-Fi settings that is going to send to the camera lens.
Scan succeeded. Camera is connecting to your router. Please wait.
Once you hear the scan succeeds, you can hit the scan succeed button on your phone.
Connection to the router succeeded. Welcome to Reolink.
Once you get that message,
Connection to the router succeeded. Welcome to Reolink.
once you get that message, hit the connection to router succeeded like it says. You'll do the initialization.
Connection to the router succeeded. Welcome to Reolink.
You want to create a login password, and like I mentioned before, we will have to use this when we put it into BlueIris or use any other RTSP connection. So we'll enter in the login password twice, hit next. It's going to ask you to name the camera, call it Rio PTZ, enable daylight savings time for the second Sunday and the 1st November. That's correct for my area. Should give you the done message, hit finish, and that's it. So once you added it to the app, it's pretty straightforward on how to control it with inside the app on a phone. Click it, pulls right up, gives you the controls. You do have the PTZ controls that you can jump to with the little joystick that you can push left to right, up and down, and move the camera over. Pretty simple. You can come in and go ahead and mark different various positions that you like as favorites. There is also an auto feature where it will pan left and right and pan around like you've seen in various other security cameras that pan back and forth. You can take snapshots, you can record videos, you can change the resolution for, say, for you're streaming this over a slower connection from remote. You may not want the full 4 megapixel because your bandwidth may not be able to handle it on the upload or download side since you're not local. Since we are local, we can change it to the 4 megapixel to get the full quality. You can jump it to change the full screen. You can also do the two-way audio, which as soon as you do hit the button, it will ask you to put the phone to your ear. And we're going to get some feedback due to, since we are local to it. And you can hit the speaker button to listen to it either on the speaker on the phone or the earpiece. For playback, since you do have the little DVR inside, and we have had this recording to the micro SD card for a little bit here, you can come in and do some playbacks of the actual video it recorded from motion. And the little tick marks will show you at the bottom just when it had some video that was recorded. So pretty cool. It's got the little DVR built into it, local storage, and you kind of control it, and there's no fees for that. So if you want to get into the actual settings of the camera, if you go back to all of your devices and hit the little cog wheel, you do get all the various settings where you can turn on, say, push notifications, so when you have motion, it'll alert you on the phone. You can do the email, you can set up alarms, you can turn off the status LED on the front, you can turn off the infrared LEDs. Of course, you can come in and change all the various exposure settings, the white balance. You can turn off the little watermark that shows the Reolink that we just turned off, move the date around. So pretty simple, your typical stuff that you see in various other cameras, all right here in the app. And then under the info tab, you can see the firmware version and your IP address. We will make note of the IP address, and we're going to use that in BlueIris. That's it for the app. Pretty simple stuff, has everything you need right there. Always helps to hit the record button. If you're not using BlueIris, you probably should. It's a really awesome software package that allows you to integrate all of your different camera brands and models in one-stop shop. So to add this camera to BlueIris, you need to make one little change, but it's real simple to do. Add new camera, call it Rio PTZ, do enable audio and direct to disk. We'll type in the IP address we made note of from the app. It might be a good idea as well to do a DHCP reserved IP so that does not change. Leave the user as admin, type in the password that you set earlier. And before you hit inspect, you need to change the OnVIF port to 8000. We'll hit find inspect. It finds the camera, hit close. You'll see it pre-populated the video path for you, hit OK. We are using hardware accelerated decoding, so we'll leave that default. And we'll turn off overlays and we'll click OK. And there's the camera. Got it installed. You also do have the PTZ controls straight in BlueIris. And that's it for the camera. Simple little 4 megapixel PTZ camera. I'll be replacing it with another camera that I had in my kitchen that wasn't PTZ, and sometimes the kids and stuff and different things in the kitchen knock it around. So I will be able to change and move that back if I'm remotely need to see something, for instance, in the kitchen. Not to mention it is a higher quality camera being 4 megapixel. And it also works with RTSP right out of the box. So if you're thinking about getting an indoor camera, definitely check this one out. I was impressed with the price point and the quality ratio with this model. And check out the video description below for the link and the coupon code for the camera. And that's it. Until the next time, y'all take care.